What's up, everyone? This is Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Flowers, which is my segment where I give classic albums their flowers and recognition, just because who else is going to do it if I don't? Now, today, we're discussing Zeppelin 3, which is what, the third one in my Led Zeppelin series. A series within a series that's in a series. It's like Inception. But today we're reviewing Zeppelin 3, and to be truthfully honest with you guys, like I never really dove into Zeppelin 3, so doing this I had to go back and listen to it over and over again just to kind of understand like what was going on, what was it about, because it was just my own ignorance. I always like one, two, four, like for some reason, but that's just me. But after listening to it, I fucking love this album. Like I I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite Zeppelin albums. I know a lot of people probably feel different because they dialed it back a bit with the acoustic sound. Like it's kind of a stray away from their first two albums that was like really blues, hard rock, and then progressive hard rock, and now it's like let's strip all that away. But after doing a little research, it made sense because they were after touring and so much success from the first two albums that came out in the same year, they toured the States, they toured all over the world. And, if you know about the second Zeppelin album, they kind of recorded that on the road. It was like recorded here, a little recorded there, and it was kind of like, I guess, hectic. But this one, they got to take time and got away from everyone and record this album in Wales. The house is called, I'm going to fuck this up. It's either Bronniar or Bronnier. Don't kill me. I'm sorry. I'm American. I don't know. But I try. But it makes sense because I read that they didn't have, the place that they stayed at didn't have any water, running water or power. So they were like kind of forced to go back to acoustic sounding things because, you don't really need to plug that stuff in. And I thought it was kind of funny because I'm like, did God do this in a way like you guys made it, right? Like you did your first two albums, you're the biggest shit since Hot Grease, and I'm gonna strip all that away and like take you back to like the roots of roots and let you record this album like the bare minimum way. And I really enjoyed that. Like I thought it was gonna be so acoustic and folk like that I wouldn't like it, but I loved it. It was very progressive, but I'll get into that in my recap. All right, so let's get into it. The first song is Immigrant Song. Again, if you've been watching my reviews, I believe Zeppelin has like some of the best intro starter tracks to their albums ever. Like everyone like draws me into the album and gets me prepared for what I'm about to listen to. It's never like a downer type of song, like a skip. It's always a song that I always one of my favorites, which is crazy because I never really picked the first song as my favorites. But with Zeppelin, I tend to like love all their first intro tracks, and it's kind of like the only track on the album that bears like that. It can live on two. It could probably live on one as well. It's like one of those. It sounds like progressive rock in a way, but it's the only one on the album I feel that way, like that sound and not really stripped down in a way. But I could be wrong. But I love the intro to the track, to the CD. It's fucking dope. The second song, Friends, that fucking violin over top of the acoustic sound is just, it's just so fucking amazing. It's like what made them, like when I said, when I heard that it was read that it was gonna be acoustic and things of that nature, I was like, okay, I kind of like stripped away. I thought I knew what they were talking about, like, but it's like very progressive acoustic. Like they didn't just leave it bare minimum. They added shit on top of it, and it's very psychedelic. Like if you hear that violin played over top through the verses, it's very psychedelic feel that it kind of is a standalone track to me as well, away from the rest of the album. And that transition into Celebration, it's just so fucking dope. Like they got it early on how to like sequence and let the next song bleed into the next song. I love, like I said, I love it when I listen to a song and I gotta look down like, damn, did the song change? Like, and not in a bad way, but like in a great way. Like that transition was like effortless, and the way it was the '70s. So that's that deserves a round of applause in itself. But getting to Celebration Day, that song seems like a liberation song. At first, I thought it reminded me of like She's Leaving Home, but by the Beatles. But I had to listen to it a little bit more, and it's like I said, it's liberation, it's escapism for me. Like hence the title Celebration Day, breaking away from all the restraints. And I could tell that Zeppelin, when you break so big, and everybody is just not just groups, but every human is just accustomed to things that go on in their environment, right? So when you take a band and you like in a year, two, three, they seen the world, but they're also seeing everything for the first time in a way. So they're discovering new experiences. They're seeing people how people life is in other places in other countries, and I thought it was dope that I thought Celebration Day was dope just because they took the time to think about that. Like just think about it. It was the '70s. It was hippies. It was Vietnam War. It was just in America. Fucking blacks were underappreciated. Like very, 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 very underappreciated. Like 10 times worse than it is now. But just for them to pay attention to that and notice that and put it in record, that was just pretty cool. I thought that was just dope. And then we go into Since I've Been Loving You. And Jesus Christ, that fucking song is God level. I had to rewind it. I rewound that song at least 5 times before the verses came in. Like for the beginning of the record. Like that shit is it's just so fucking God level. It's amazing. The drums that John put on there they just nasty. Like to accompany, like I said, it's supposed to be all the critics and reviewers, and when I went into it, it was saying it was a stripped down acoustic, and I couldn't hear it. Like it's progressive acoustic. It's a progressive blues. It's progressive folk. Like it's the drums that he put behind there could be put on a hip hop song in a way. Like those drums are so hard and so dope that just to occupy that beat and song is just so fucking dope. And as far as the song itself, it's a heartbreak song. It's like I said, it took blues music and infused it with modern rock and pushed that bitch into the future. And that guitar solo is just I've been working from 7 that guitar solo is just so fucking dope, man. Like I would love to talk to them and like Robert Plant and Page and just like what the fuck were you guys thinking? Or just yeah, like what were you thinking, Jimmy Page, when you produced this shit? Like this shit is just like the structure itself is just so fucking amazing that you just get lost in the music, and you don't really get that a lot nowadays. Like every spot is filled with voices and shit of that nature that you don't feel the music itself. And yeah, and stop fucking breaking Plant's heart, bro. It seems like for the first 3 albums, he can't even find a girl. This guy's working 7 days a week, 11 hours a day. He comes home, she got somebody leaving out the back door. Like this shit is crazy. And he's out here fucking working his soul away. You know what I mean? But that song is easily one of my favorite songs in the album. Like, yeah, like I said, I ran it back at least 4 or 5 times before I even listened to the whole song straight through. So that song is just 2 thumbs up. 2. Out on the Towels. I like how this song's a little upbeat compared to its predecessor before it. So it kind of like, for the people who may feel like, all right, I'm going down kind of way, and feel like it picks you back up. And I think again that's great sequencing. Like that's how an album should be. Like at points it should bring you down, but it also should bring you back up at times. Like just so you won't be, unless it's just a concept album and it's all sad in a way. But it's supposed to flow. It's supposed to have balance, and I appreciate that with the following song, Out on the Towels. All I need from you is your love. I love that hook. Like, the way they repeat that is just so fucking dope. It reminds me of just that classic rock feel. It feels like, that song feels like I should buy a Mustang, pick up smoking and go down the coast like on a Saturday, a sunny Saturday. Like that's how that song makes me feel. Like I love when music can paint a setting like for me. That's one of the things one of my go to when I'm listening to music. Like what setting can this soundtrack in a way. So I love that about that song. Gallows Pole. It's inspired by a poem by Francis James Child, "The Maid Who Freed from the Gallows," and the song itself is pretty dope. Like it's a, I think it's a great story to flip the poem. I had to read the lyrics to really understand what was going on. It's like a prisoner offering silver and gold to Mr. Hangman, and like he like, nah, that ain't enough. That ain't enough. Ain't enough. But he was like, but what if I give you my sister? And like, he like gives his sister to him and shit. It's one of those weird, like, old folk poem tales that, like, what do like the Disney shit that they always, this wicked, if you really think about it, like Cinderella or something. And like all those, like one of those history like stories that's just like, if you think about it, you're like, oh shit, that's kind of weird. But like, I like how they flipped it and made that into a song. Like I said, I had to read the lyrics to actually understand what was going on. Like I had to read it like the song was a poem, which is dope in itself. Just for understanding, I just didn't want to come in here and just spat stupid shit. But that song is pretty groovy in itself. I like it. Like it's one of those on this album as well. Tangerine, man, this is I love this song, man. Even though the album's supposed to be acoustic, it's the first one that reminds me of that. And I know it was a couple before that you could say, but you ain't here, blah blah blah. But this was the first one I felt like it was. I felt like it was stripped down in a way. Yeah, I just felt it was stripped down. And then this is weird, but the guitar on it reminds me a little bit, just for a little bit, of the "Here I Go Again on My Own." Like I don't know why it reminds me of that. Like I have this thing with music where like a certain flick of a chord or something can shoot me to another song, like, and it could be the smallest part of the song, but it's a little guitar part in there that reminds me of "Here I Go Again on My Own." And I gotta sing it like that just because, that's how I always hear it in my head. Yeah, he said it's a line on there. It was like, "I was her love and she was my queen, and now there's 1,000 years in between." I thought that was pretty dope. Like I said, it's a love record. Yeah, just like some of their lines are like, some of the Zeppelin lines are like, they're really like poetry to me. Like it's one thing I miss with music these days. Like it's none of the stuff is like I want to read on paper. That's the way. Man, that's probably my favorite song on the album. I'm sorry, I'm revealing my favorites already, but that song is probably, it's just connected me on so many levels. Like I had to rewind that song a couple times, like the whole song though. I don't know how I'm gonna tell you. And learning that the song was inspired by like the earlier stages in their career was dope. Like how they felt being like these uh, this long-haired band and coming to America and getting like shit thrown at them and being mistreated and things of that nature early in their career before they blew up and now everybody was on their dick. But it was dope that they touched on that. I learned that they touched on that, and it's also like the long hair line can also. It reminded me of hippies in the 70s and how they were fighting against the Vietnam War and things of that nature. And on another hand, it reminded me of black people. Like like I said, I think Zeppelin, like once you get out your environment and you leave and you learn all these new places, you learn that everybody has problems, right? But you also learn that how many people were being treated unfair in places, right? So when I listened to the song, me being an African American, it hit me in that part because I just felt like, wow, like they just took the time out to like acknowledge what was wrong in America and how, like, to me, it just felt like how negatively black people were treated, especially in the 60s, and how, we were shipped off to Vietnam and fighting a war that, it wasn't even ours, like at all. So, and we're getting treated worse here. Like it was a weird thing. But I thought with the line, he said something like, "You're in the darker side of town." I just thought that was dope. Like it was just, it was I could be wrong with that, but that's, music is subjective, and that's what I got from it. It's a line that says, "I don't know what to say about it when all your ears have turned away, but now's the time to look and look again at what you see." Uh, is that the way that you wanted to stay? But that shit almost like brought tears to my eyes. Just to, I don't know. It's like probably one of the first Led Zeppelin records that like hit me in the heart, like emotionally. Um, Not saying that you don't have any emotional ties to any Led Zeppelin songs prior to this, but it's the first one I felt like, oh shit, they like, it's not just love and blues. They're actually, I don't know. When you start bringing other people's problems into your music, that's when, like, I don't know. That's when you get great. That's why the Beatles are great. That's why certain artists are just great when they can they take what the world is going on around them and put it in their music, and it's not just about them anymore. So I thought that was great. Then we have the song Braun You. Sorry if I'm saying this, butchering this name, but Braun You Stump. And it was inspired by the house they recorded and some of the album in and things of that nature. And it's one of those, like, it reminded me of like a hold down record in a way. So it had that whole feel to it. So I guess that's where the acoustic and stripped down thing is coming into play more often at this point. Yeah, but I thought the song was about a woman, but it actually was about a dog, like the dog and shit. So I thought that was cool. I love my dog, so when we get the songs about the love for your dog, you got me all in. And the last song is "Hats Off" to Roy Harper. I just love how Zeppelin pays homage to the greats that came before them, from folk to blues. Like so far from their first three albums, they always have a homage to one of the greats, and I just think that's just pretty honorable and dope. Like, I just love that. I love the vocal effect on that record where the vocals are in the right, but the rest of the instrumentals is in the left. I thought that was pretty cool. It was for it to be like the stripped down album. I thought that was pretty cool that they. I don't know. Again, it's like a kind of a psychedelic feel to it. I appreciate that. It was pretty dope. All right, let's get into best songs. I'm gonna go with "That's the Way," "Immigrant Song," and "Since I've Been Loving You." Yeah. Worst song. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with "Celebration Day." It's not that it's a bad song or anything. It's just that it's cool. Like, it's cool. Compared to everything else on the album, I think that was to me kind of the weakest on the album. Favorite line says, "And yesterday I saw you kissing tiny flowers, but all that live is born to die. And so I say to you that nothing really matters, and all you do is stand there and cry." That was from "That's the Way." It's kind of like I said, talking to the hippie person and things of that nature. That line stood out to me. Like, that's fucking poetry. To wrap this up, Zeppelin 3, it's pretty dope. Like, I don't know if this is like probably one of their, when it came out, like one of their like highest selling records, or critique really high, that I don't know. If you were born back then, just let me know. But I can see how, coming off the first two albums, their fans or just fair weather fans could be like, I don't really gel with that. But like I said, I think the acoustic stripped down thing it's kind of a lie to me, because yes, even though it's a freaking acoustic guitar and drums and just things and barely anything stripped down thing, I think it's progressive. I think they took like the blues and folk and country sound that they grew up on, but pushed it into the future. Like, like I said, the layers with the violin over some records, or how hard the drums are hitting on some records, and equating that and putting that hard rock sound under some of the acoustic sounds. It's just fucking dope. So I don't think it's like, me personally, at this point, I don't think it's like a really stripped down album. I think it's taken from the past and creating something great and pushing it forward. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. And like I said, like I kind of skip over 3 a lot, and I'm just like falling in love with it. So like this could be like just a puppy love thing, new love thing, but I really enjoy this album. Like I didn't expect to enjoy it this much just because of the what I went into thinking. And that was just, my ignorance. But I fuck around and like love this album, and one of my favorite Zeppelin songs are on this album. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Where do you rank Zeppelin 3 in your Zeppelin ratings? Am I the only one who like don't feel like this is really a acoustic album or stripped down album? Let me know in the reviews. Also, let me know like if anybody got any background stories on what went into making this album or any songs or things of that nature. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I think we got one more Zeppelin album out the 4. I might do I might do graffiti, but for right now we just probably got one more, and yeah, we're almost done. So again, Zeppelin 3. Here's your flowers. I'm Tatum. That's it. Peace.